The All India Muslim League, led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, declared the day as a nationwide protest, demanding a separate homeland, Pakistan. The Britishers were...
Good morning, everyone from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and namaskar. Today we have a very illustrious guest. He has been very busy with several things, but I'm very thankful he's here. I'm going to first introduce him by talking a little about him. And many of you, I'm sure you've read his books. And then we will start the actual discussion. Dr. Sabyasachi Ghosh Dastidar, or as he's known here in the United States, Dr. Sachi Ghosh Dastidar. He's the Distinguished Service Professor Emeritus of Politics, Economics, and Law of the State University of New York, Old Westbury. He also taught at the Florida State University, Alabama A&M University, Kazakhstan Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata, Ireland Higher Education, Jawaharlal Nehru University, India. He's the founder of Indo-Pak Subcontinent Partition Document Project, ISHPAD, Probahini Foundation, Educating the Poor and the Orphan, South Asian Forum. He visited 35 countries and territories in all continents, including Antarctica. He has authored over 24 books and journals and made presentations on all continents. He visited Partition, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and of course we won't ask about that, many times, and has built schools, hostels, orphanages, and rebuilt at local request many shrines, ashrams, and homes. So, without much delay, because this is a very important podcast, I'm going to start with my first question. But also what I'm going to do as I'm asking the question, I'll show the cover of his books, because most of the questions that I have are from his books. All right. So I've arranged the questions in a chronological order. I'll start with 1991, the publication of his Bengali book, Ei Bangla, Oi Bangla. This is my question, and as you're answering, I'll display the cover of the book. I'll share it with the audience. You published an article, Ei Bangla, Oi Bangla, and then an entire book. This was your first published article on the issue of partition and its legacies. Were you thinking about the issue for a long time? What are the things that led to your writing about this issue? And could you summarize a little bit about the book and its contents for us? So that's the first question. Let me share the book cover with the audience.
I can also share.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, please. That will be good. Yes, that's the real book. I would have just shared the cover. Yes, that's the. And so now.
And also, before I do, it was first published in two of these articles as published in Desh Patrika, the largest circulation weekly in India then, and then rest followed. I mean, so yeah, go ahead. Other question? The question was?
The question was, let me repeat that. Were you thinking about this issue for a long time? And what are the things that led to your writing about this issue? Could you summarize a little bit about the book?
Very important question. By the way, thank you, Namaskar, and thank you for inviting me. It's extremely important question. And to me, it evolved because I started to work in Bangladesh. My family were driven out. We are Bangladeshi, Indian, American. We were driven out from our home of 1500s. But I first visited in 1982 with my little kids and my wife. And then we started visiting again and again, almost regularly. And this is what I saw, that in West Bengal, which was, and also Tripura, but I'm mostly interested in West Bengal or Calcutta or Kolkata, they were run by Bangladeshi Hindu Indians. Yet they never protested. And as I started visiting, I saw the bright side of the Muslim Bengalis. Actually, we were picked up from the airport by a Muslim gentleman, took it to their home, and traveled. And not only that, when we first would go to Borishal, which is in southern, you have to take a ship, overnight journey by ship. So as we bought the ticket, a gentleman saw our little kids playing outside and saw us, then asked us, "You must be Hindu." Uh, so because when he came, I said, "Namaskar,
Yeah.
Hindu," and she says, then I says, "I'm not going to let you go over there." I said, "Why?"
Ah,
He says, "It is very bad for Hindus." So I said, "Sir,
and
I
this
have
was 1982.
no, this, yeah. So I said, yes, no, I have to go because I have come." And what happened when we got up in the ship in the afternoon, late afternoon, he came with a little girl to protect us.
Oh,
Think
so
about that.
that's kind of a, yeah,
Overnight journey. Think about that. So the bright side, I have had that in
experience.
many places, including in Pakistan when I went. So that began my journey. And then when I went and saw how, on the one hand, we see these beautiful people, on the other side, we hear firsthand how difficulty it is for Hindu minority,
To
and
live.
for which we are censoring our papers in West Bengal, which are all run by Bangladeshi Indians who fled their homeland, yet they're not saying anything. Because I went to a district in Borishal city, there is it's to be a Hindu neighborhood, but many of the homes have been taken over. And there's a gentleman I met, a very eminent gentleman. He says, "Do you know that sometimes I walk in my dhuti?" Actually, he came to the river port to pick us up in dhuti. He says, "Do you know there are times some of the little kids are sent to pull those dhuti down so that I'm naked, And then we met a lady who had, of course, shaka, which is the wedding symbol, and she told me how difficult sometimes it is. Somebody says, I'm going to break your hand and all that. Instead of that, they're very brave people, very, very good people. They do it. So that's opened my eyes. The bright side and the dark side. And then I started, revisiting almost 82, then 86, 87, 90, Then after that, I formed Probini Foundation, seeing how difficult it is if you can help them.
Yeah.
So in Bangladesh, we have built over 16 schools, hostels, and orphanages. And everybody is welcome, Hindu, Muslim, that's not a problem.
Right. So that's the start. And you know what I liked about your storytelling, that you're making it personal, because that's very important. Okay, so I'm jumping to 2008, and I'm going to show everyone the cover of this book, because see, this is my question: Empire's Last Casualty. This is the year when this book 2008 was published. I find the title of the book very intriguing. First of all, the word empire as opposed to nations, for we all now live with nations with borders. Empire that spans several territories and borders, as we know now. Also, the term casualty, which is very sinister and dark. What is your reason for choosing such a sort of provocative title? I mean, the title itself, like your one other book, which we'll talk about, article rather, which we'll talk about later. What is your reason for choosing this specific article? Because it's very ironic, sinister, dark, but also provocative.
Nobody wanted, no Hindu, no Muslim. They tried to divide us first in 1770s by so-called caste. When it didn't succeed, then in 1905 they brought Bengal dividing, because
Divided.
Bengal was leading independence movement, Hindu and Muslim. When not one Muslim, not one Hindu wanted it. Then they institutionalized it. They paid money to somebody coming from northern India to Dhaka to start Muslim League Party, gave millions of rupees to start this thing, and rest is history. So, that's why I called empire last casualty, because most people do not know worldwide that as British Empire broke us up, but they drove us out. Why they didn't pay any any help us? That is to say, they are just destroying us and didn't do anything, but they took the money. Actually, if you go to YouTube, you'll see there's a young lady saying how they transfer what $35 trillion from India to Britain. But my point is that that's why, and last casualty means because we were the last who have been driven out. You know, so that's why I write Indian subconscious vanishing Hindu and other minorities. Because from Bangladesh, initially they didn't attack Christians and Buddhists, because in 71 they were afraid the Christians may react against them in Pakistan, and Buddhist countries may react against. Actually, there were two Buddhists who were very active in 71, this genocide. One was a king, supposedly he's ambassador of Pakistan somewhere. But this is the story people are not told. In Pakistan, for example, they don't even know, many of them didn't know that they were part of India, because that's not taught.
And Americans are really, oh my goodness, is this true? And then they go like, I don't know what kind of history is taught. So, yeah. This leads us to our third question, which is I go to 2021. Now, this book has a special significance for me. I'll not show the cover, but I'll show the book itself, because I teach out of this book and it's in our library. I remember you sent me the book because I donated one to the library and one I needed to teach. It has a special significance. And also it helped my research. Specifically where you quote Edward Kennedy saying that the Hindu community in 1971 were the specific target. So my question to you is, did the research for this book take you to Bangladesh? What kind of hindrance and discomfort did you encounter when researching 1971? What are the reactions between Hindus and Muslims? Because Operation Searchlight was the crystal nut, actually. Did you get a sense that people in Bangladesh were comfortable talking about 1971, considering the genocidal rape, which was the largest after the rape of Nankin? And now coming to a more sensitive topic. So these are the first question. The related question is, what is unfolding in Bangladesh in the last 2 years? Could you tell us the new significance of this book? It is significant in its own right, no doubt about it. But what is its new significance about this book? And this book I have, so I'm not going to show the cover, I'm going to show the entire book, because I not only teach out of it, it's in our library. And I told my students, if you have to read the whole thing, please buy it. Don't just borrow it from the library, because you have to return it. So for me, this has a special significance. So those are my questions. Did this take you to actually to Bangladesh and Pakistan, or just Bangladesh for this research? Were they uncomfortable talking about it? And the last one is a very sensitive question, considering the present scenario and the shifting kaleidoscope of Bangladesh. Do you think its significance is more now, or it has changed? It was always significant, but more now.
Yeah, thank you. You raised many questions, so we have to go one at a time. First of all, I'll tell you, I never, ever was afraid of going there or in Pakistan. Never. I visited almost whenever I went to India, or there were times I went directly to Bangladesh. Never. I was, people, they were criminal. I call them criminal. One was in New York City. He was running a radio program in 1990s. He just for 1 hour cursed me, saying that how come you're helping Hindus? How come Hindus do not help each other? What kind of Hindu you are? And why are you helping the poor? Other Indian refugees who run West Bengal and other places, they do not help. Why do you help? But I used curses, and then there were other people who attacked him, because that's there. But I'm not going to give up on that. And why should I? I mean, that's my homeland. I have not given up anything. And I visit my ancestral land every year I go. It is true that Pakistan created a law called Enemy Property Act, which
Yes.
allowed confiscation of indigenous Hindu home, Hindu land, property, pond, everything, without paying a penny. So my family were made homeless overnight. By the way, my
And
parents.
Dr. Barakat did talk about it, but I think he's in jail now.
Yeah. No, he had a
Yes.
book. I have the book. He came, visited us, our partition center. My parents were highly educated. My mother stood first in Bengal in 1919, when
Was
West Bengal
undivided.
has more people than the United States. And there you have the one exam for everybody. Not each school district has. My father became engineer, graduated probably from the first batch of Dhaka University, then finished engineering from Glasgow. Yet after partition, it was not easy for them to survive. Luckily, my father had rented a place before, I mean, partition, a place in Kolkata, because he was working, because he couldn't work in the get a job in the village. Even now you have to walk to get to the village. So almost every few days we have refugees coming, or uncles, aunts, and they would come and stay there. So that's the lifestyle. And actually, because of that, even my parents couldn't send me to school for the first 4 years, because even for the few $5 rupees or something, because they had to send the money, help use the money to help other
Other,
people coming.
yeah.
So it is. But the tragedy of Bengal, tragedy of India, tragedy of Hindus is that they have not written about these things, talked about these things. I visited. Actually, you have on YouTube there is a channel called Ishpat 1947,
Yes.
which saves history of refugees, survivors, and protectors. So I went to visit a gentleman, very famous gentleman, whose 27 family members were first beaten in Noakhali in 46 during British rule, and then they were burned alive. Yet wouldn't say anything.
That's why Tipu Dash's burning is a symbol of the whole process. It's not an isolated incident. People are shocked. Why is he burned? But genocide is intergenerational. Genocide is not hate killing. And I have studied genocide in depth. And people don't know the background, and they're all surprised.
Yeah, no, right. If I tell you my book, the book you showed, it documents till
Exactly.
2001 census,
Right.
over about 50 million Hindus have been driven out.
Right.
I use the census,
Right.
you know, and
But
percentage.
maybe more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by now it's over 60 million have been driven out.
Right.
And my book documents about 3 million killed, but actually it's a lot more, because
It's
I
more.
could not, because of Pakistani censorship, British censorship, I could not find exact detail how many were killed during Noakhali killing, during Kolkata riot in 46. Couldn't find how many were killed during pogrom, when the genocide of
It is
1950.
a program because the state was involved. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1950 genocide, 52, 54, 1964 was a big genocide called Hazrat Bal genocide.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
I've researched
so
that.
so supposedly there was a Hazrat Bal's here in one of the
Yes.
mosques in Kashmir,
Mm.
and so Pakistan said, let's kill Hindus over there. So
So they did the same up in Kashmir. Once Dr. Kaul told me, Pakistan lost to India in a cricket, and they started beating up the Hindus.
yeah. But I have a sorry to say, I I am very critical of people who call themselves Hindus or Indians, because I sorry to say, but I'll still mention because I have that in my book. I call Indians or Hindus suicidally fatalistic, tolerant, indigenous, self-divisive, coward people. That means
It's a
that means
strong phrase. I love it.
so when your parents are being burned alive, you're not saying anything. When like our family or families when you're making homeless, you're not saying anything. Yet
But I have a similar experience from your book I quoted on the social media about a very important political personality who's were butchered, and then they came to India, fled. I wouldn't say came, fled, and they became important political people. When I quoted your book, they started abusing me. I said, this is a scholarly book. You respond scholarly. If you think the book is lying, then you respond with your reference, and they couldn't.
not only
So
sorry to say, let me add, then tell them to go back to your homeland like I have done.
no,
If
no,
you're
they have no research. They haven't read your book.
no no
They're
no
just
no but what I'm saying, if they're criticizing for that reason, like in India I have done recently, there was a I don't want to even very bad person who criticized Indian leader because he named Indian port for Kolkata port after Syam Prasad Mukherjee. And he was, I'm against Syam Prasad Mukherjee. I said, listen, you are a racist guy. You have a tiny bit of secularism left in you. Why didn't you go back to your homeland? He was elected from one area of Kolkata, which is 99% refugee. We call them refugee or is Bengali or Bengal. So and then and supposedly I even didn't know. A guy called me from Canada doing doctorate. Says, "Uncle, he went and said in the assembly that Communist Party also supported partition. All these things. The problem
But this, I don't know how people can, in a so stupid social media, can criticize a researched book. It is not something that you're saying because you want to say it. And this is where I find it very odd, which means have their brains left. I don't want to say my whole, my community, all Hindus brains. I'm like, but this is researched book. It's not just a book. It's not a fiction.
let me add how difficult a problem is for us is that new first one e Bangla is published in Desh Patrika
Right.
in 89. So after that, actually I had already finished the book, and this was the book I showed you.
Yeah.
Sorry, e Bangla, say Bangla. So and then um, I'm very honest, very happy that they did it, but they were worried there could be attack in West
But
Bengal by others. So they used a different address for them. I mean, in a state which is run by East Bengalis or refugees, why would you be worried?
it's not only that. For me, it's about social justice. I mean,
No,
there are
absolutely.
Yazidis, Yazidis, and there are Africans. I mostly work on Africa. It's storytelling. Feminism is all about that, talking about your own violence. That brings me to my next question, which is Ishpad. And if you can talk a little bit, and Probahini Foundation. For those who do not know, I'll read a little about Probahini, then I'll
No,
let
not
Dr.
no, not Probahini, Probini.
Oh, Probini.
Probini.
Probini Foundation. And I'll read a little bit about it, but then Dr. Ghosh Dastidar will tell us both about the Ishpat project and the problems he faced, and the Probini Foundation. So with Ishpad, I find it one thing I find absolutely unique with Ishpad. You openly talk about something that we didn't know because it was intentional, it was shielded from us, the missing Hindus. Now, when I taught feminist theory, I taught about the missing people in Argentina, but my own people are missing, and I didn't know that. I told about Argentina because there are articles on that. And then when I went to Ishpad, which I couldn't access for a while, was it censored or something? And then eventually, and now I can access it. You talk about the missing Hindus, and then in the Probini Foundation, I'll read for the audience what it is because many don't know. And then I'll put the website as Dr. Ghosh Dastidar is talking. I'm going to put the website, share it with everyone. It supports the education of needy, especially the orphan in Assam, West Bengal, Bangladesh, in the subcontinent. It's in the New York metropolitan area to create social, cultural, and economic bridges with new immigrants, new citizens, native-born US citizens. The most important question about Probini Foundation is you connect this to the last. This is my question. Sorry. So if you talk about it a little, I'll share it on the screen. I'll share the website, and then I have a special question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, you connect Probini Foundation with Empire's last casualty. And this is amazing. Can you talk both about your Ishpad project and the Probini project a little bit?
Oh, good, very good question. Actually, it evolved. I didn't plan on beforehand. Evolved, meaning as I started going to Bangladesh on a regular basis, uh, in different parts of India, Eastern India and Northeast India, people even contacted because they were refugees in many places too. I mean, being a tourist is one thing, but how can I help? Then I started this Probini Foundation. I named it using my mine and my wife's parents. Pro comes from Profullo, B comes from Vibhuti, and uh, Ni comes from Nihar Kona, which my mother and my wife's mother both had the same name. But Probini, people thought is senior. Probin means older. It's senior older. So
I see.
you know, and then my journey began, and then our first effort was, I don't know if I should you show you the picture, that I started my journey of building. One second, let me show you. Uh, are you able to see by any chance?
If you can hold it up or share, then I can see if it's on the screen, but you can share it. I can stop sharing and then you can. This is the Ishpad project.
Okay.
I'm sharing it for everyone.
Okay. Can you? Yeah. I don't know how would I share this. I lost you.
Yeah.
One second. You're not okay. So I don't. Okay. So
If you
are you
can
able?
send it to me via chat, I can share it.
Um. Okay. All right. So I don't want to waste your time. Just um, yeah. So I was going to show you that we started, and first what happened, near our home was ancestral home is in Borishal's Gaur Nodi Thana, and and on the very first time we went there, as I mentioned, a Muslim gentleman, and then with his little daughter, he came along with protecting her, and then there was a monk, very high quality. I believe these guys are very high quality, 100 times better than me, but very poor. Those poor Hindus, as they were walking with Shefali to catch the bus, she said, "Didi, older sister, why can't you come to my home, our village? There we have a temple. We want to show you." So that's within walking distance, and that's her maternal ancestral home. Their building was known as home was known as headmaster's home, because they're headmaster for 10 different generations. So that's how the journey began. And when I went, we saw this 500-year-old or 600-year-old temple have broken. I have I wrote to Bangladesh president and
Who was
district
the
magistrate.
president at that time?
Don't ask me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. It's not
Yeah, I don't
important.
remember.
Yeah.
It was in the 1980s. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So 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 and that time it was the president didn't belong to Army League, but the BNP, which is supposed to be at
Oh,
that time a pro-Islamic party,
yeah.
nevertheless he wrote back to me
Oh,
saying that
that's
we
good.
are going to fix their mandir.
Temple. But did they do it or they just said it?
Yes, yes, they did. And then you would believe that I couldn't show you the picture when I went to tell them in '86. I had to walk from the road. There's a little dirt road. I have to walk to
Mhm.
them, and when they saw me, I considered that to be my one of the best experience of the world. They started. There was a musical group. They were high quality, poor in those they were singing, and when they saw me coming, they started singing, God has landed on earth, Bhagavan morte এসেছেন. And then they started circling around me. You know, I have that picture next to my bed in my office, that how they were just raising hand and saying that God has landed on earth. And then we built our first building. And
Mhm.
again, I made, and where donations came from all kinds of people, Americans, even um, our I mean, all kinds of people helped us. We had to raise most of the money because we had to raise 30-40,000 dollars, but other people came forward, and those who donated over $1,000, we have a everywhere we build schools and others. We put a, um, a tablet, which is a stone tablet with the donations name. It is there, so it can be done. Uh,
It can be done. The will has to be there.
Absolutely. And I never, again, as I mentioned, people threaten stupid step on me. Why should I be? If that's the thing, then the criminals will win.
Exactly. That's my thing also. Now, Dr. Dastidar, one question about the Ishpat project, which is a wealth of resource, and the audience is looking at it because I'm sharing it. Did you have trouble when you put it up? Like, were people trying to like block this or something? Because for a while it was not accessible.
Yeah, so good question. And I cannot prove, but I think they were criminals which were against us. So about 3 years ago, first my laptop was hacked and destroyed, university laptop.
Oh boy.
Every document was gone. Then after that, we had a website for partition project. Somebody hacked and destroyed it.
Yeah,
So
that was not accessible. Yeah.
yeah, and that's then came my cell phone, where documents were destroyed. Then even cell phone was stolen, even when I was traveling outside. So I cannot prove that they were all connected, but
These
but
hacks.
I will not be surprised if that's what it is.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, I am not willing to give up,
exactly.
even if you threaten, if you do things, because otherwise the criminals would win.
Yeah.
If you have a
And
battle,
yeah,
listen, what Ma Durga, Ma Kali had taught us, not to just throw flowers, but Ma Durga, Ma Kali had killed the demons. How come we do not have not learned from it?
right.
I-
And in every movement, it's like this. I remember when I was growing up, women were very reluctant to talk about their domestic violence and so forth. But eventually, through movement and movement, they did. So it's like that in every movement. But the point is, there's always that, like you said, that someone hacked your laptop. This is really like it's scary, also, right? You think that, am I safe?
yes and no. Yes, but But I said, I, I, I often say, listen, that's true. But listen, if we all drive and there are accidents on road, so suppose, that doesn't mean I'm giving up not driving, you know. So I mean, it is there, but criminals, I cannot wipe out the criminals.
Exactly. That
But we have to try our best, otherwise they will win.
Exactly. That brings us to a very short question. Your latest book is, you co-authored it with your son Shubho in 2024, Ganga Hudson merger. Could you tell us a little bit, because question 6, the next question, the last but one question is my favorite question. So I'm waiting for it eagerly, but this is a short question. Could you please tell us a little bit about Ganga Hudson merger?
Yeah, good. Actually, after all these documents that I was writing about these things, then I started writing about about the experience that people do not. With Shubho, I'll come to that. Shubho is my son,
Yeah.
who has been with me. Of course, he has visited those places. And by the way, there is a second edition
Okay.
of this one, Hudson Ganga Marger too. So I started writing because there are things I wanted people to know, which you could not tell everything on documentary books. So I call them memoir based non memorial, in the sense I'm writing with memorial, but non memorial means I had to change some names because I didn't want to be, I mean, even newspapers and individuals, I didn't want to be a person just to targeting somebody.
Right. A story brings more nuanced things.
Yeah. So it is Hudson Ganga merger. By the way, you would be surprised to know that 99%, maybe not, 99% Americans do not know what Ganga means. You know, because it is against the British criminals change all these things. Who that Ganga is Ganges? Who says, my gosh, I never knew? And did you know? Did you know that, like in India, nobody calls India India. We all call Bharat in India. It is they changed it. It came
Yeah.
from, evolved from
The Arabic in
Iran. Iran.
India.
Iran,
In
Iran
Sindh.
called
Yeah. Yeah.
Sindhu River Sindhi,
Yeah.
and from there those said by on the side they call it Sindh, from their Hind. Anyway, so this is the story of basically merger of two cultures,
Right.
and then positives and contradictions.
Right.
Highlight even like in a very very open society like America, because these India and America, the two largest pluralistic society, tolerant society, yet there are many many contradictions. Even in India, when there is pressure, they have created many states with minority majority.
Right.
Even Christian majority states, they have created three.
Right.
Mizoram, where we go every year, and then Nagaland, I have been there, also Meghalaya, and also Muslim majority state, Buddhist majority. So, but of course, in our case, we cannot do those things in America. That we do not have any Native American state or
Right.
Jewish state or Hispanic state.
Well,
That
where I live, it is a Hispanic majority state.
even then
But
the
they
states are.
won't know. It's not declared. Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that,
So,
then they teach in those languages. That's their first language and all those things.
yeah, no.
So yeah,
So,
that's the
well,
it says joining of America's Hudson River with India's Ganga, revealing worldwide friendliness and fanaticism, openness and oppression. So basically, people like us bringing two cultures together.
yeah. Okay, that brings me to my favorite question. And guess what the tragedy is? I could not get a hold of this article. But sometimes, nowadays you have open resources, but just the title was so intriguing. I really want to pursue this. I'm very intrigued by the title of your article. And I don't even have the year. Pathan but Hindu. No one has ever written an article that I know of. But it brings together, just the title brings together a sense of history, ethnicity, ethnic cleansing, culture, memories together. Could you please tell us something about this essay and your visit to Pakistan? A little bit.
Like I said, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan also, we had a very, very wonderful experience. We were kidnapped last time when we went to Peshawar University to present both
Which
Shefalia
is the
and
Pathan land, right? Yeah.
sorry, yeah,
Peshawar is the Pathan's land.
right.
That's the
And,
ethnicity.
and
Yeah.
then when we were, then there are people there at the conference. Somebody came when they learned we are Hindu. They asked me. I grew up non-religious under the communist rule, which is fine, but
Right.
I do not
Right.
want to give up the rights, you know. So
Yeah.
when somebody came and asked, we want to bring back a pre-Islamic mandir here, but we need
Wow.
your help. I said, what
And
help?
that's in Peshawar.
Peshawar.
Yeah. Okay.
And I said, what help? He said, we want you to write to president, prime minister, or
Which
our
year was this?
sorry.
Which year was this?
I think we went there in 12 or
2012.
something like
Yeah.
that. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay.
So and somebody sent me their addresses. I wrote hard copy letter and sent it to that person who was a journalist, who then hand delivered it to president, prime minister, home minister,
Wow.
or their provinces as chief minister, governor, and all that. So I went there in August, Shefali and I wrote the letter in October, and then in April they started to rebuild it. If you go into my blog,
Ooh.
Empire's Last Casualty, you'll see we started with them. So, and then it was in October during Diwali. It was key was handed over. There's a small number of Hindus, generally poor Hindus, they were left there.
In
Of them,
Peshawar.
Kakaram, but they're high class. Kakaram and Leela Devi came and they gave the key to them to open the Diwali. So I have in my blog, I have their picture. I have it here, but I cannot show you now.
I'll share it with
Yeah.
in the social media. Fantastic.
So as I mean, actually, so that was my job to write to them, and they said you have to say you came here and you saw and you are a Hindu, you have to identify, So I did. That's not a problem. And just think about it was pre-Islamic mandir.
That's fantastic. Now, please tell us this title intrigues me so much. Pathan but Hindu. Please
But
tell us.
yeah, because I saw so many Pathans who were Hindu. They came,
Because that's the original indigenous religion there.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. Right. I remember when 71, when I was in Florida State University in Tallahassee. I had a friend who came from Hindu friend who came from Afghanistan. Now think about that. How many are left there?
I think a lot were there till the 90s, and then it was impossible after the Taliban came to power. Yeah.
No, right. Even before that,
Yeah.
there were attacks
Yeah,
during
70s, yeah.
partition of India. There was attacks on all those. But the point is, yes. And so they sent me, and they said, and on that day when it was a Diwali day, they sent me pictures from there with the big. They declared it a state holiday, and then all their buses and other places had big banner, the Diwali of Peshawar, Diwali of So
Peshawar is still in Pakistan, but
of course,
Afghanistan's yeah,
yeah,
worse.
it's Pakistan.
Yeah.
So it can be done. By the way, even that conference we went. After that, I was just telling you, I used the bad word, kidnapped. Two ladies, one of the who went to speak also was a professor in Lahore, We are going to Lahore from there,
Which
and
is
they
in Punjab province, not Peshawar. Yeah.
yes. So it's a long, about, I don't remember, 8 hour drive or something, bus drive.
Okay.
So uh, they kidnapped us and took us to their home.
Very
They said,
good.
mother
Yeah.
called me. They, we were talking all this time, and they said, my mother said, you have to come. You cannot go to hotel. See, you see the
That's so
inside.
sweet. Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't want to, because I said, I mean, it's imposition on you. I will be here for 3-4 days. Uh, but right few minutes before coming to Lahore, the girl said, no, Uncle, we have cancelled it to your hotel because their
Oh,
cell phone was working, not ours. And we
yeah.
had a wonderful time. And she came and stayed with us here also. She
Okay.
came for a lecture presentation here. So came here. So yeah, and by the way, partition documentation is that as I evolved in this thing, I realized how I am looking for a very rough word, how stupid we are that we are not telling that our parents were killed. We were driven out from a home of 1500s.
And that brings me to my last question, which you and I discussed somewhat, but this is the most important question, I think. Why do you think the the most difficult task is to speak about it? You just now said they were killed, they were driven out, but we won't use this language. Why is there such a taboo? It's almost like, because I've been in the feminist movement and whatever, women don't talk about rape, children don't talk about abuse. It's the same thing. So what do you think is going on in the minds of people? Is it shame?
No, I'm sorry. I mentioned to you. In case of this, because those there are very few Muslims who even though they supported British criminals
The Muslim League
vote
supported.
of
Yeah.
partitioning India,
Partition, yeah.
Muslim, non-Muslim, but they very few left India, even though they voted for it, but they were all driven out. Others, non-Muslims, were driven out from Pakistan or Bangladesh. We hardly anybody came and protested. Still, a little bit was there in the West, and that also includes in Indian very sectarian politics in terms of within the Congress party. Because even within the Congress party, when Jawaharlal Nehru was there, he created one of the very racist law, Nehru Liaquat Treaty,
Oh
which
yeah, I've read it.
which allowed rehabilitation of people coming from West Pakistan, but not free East Pakistan, for which
Yes,
against.
and Professor Kamra, A.J. Kamra, who writes about the prolonged partition, he writes about it in his book.
And that's why Shama Prasad, there were two Bengali ministers, Shama Prasad and Mr. Pal, I think, I forget. They resigned, and that's why the Shama Prasad taken and killed, taken to the prison by Indian Prime Minister Nehru, who supported this kind of racism. That one would be helped, others will not be. And but
That's blatant discrimination. One group of refugees will be helped, others won't. That is
absolutely,
blatant.
absolutely. And why even rest of West Bengalis and rest of Indians didn't protest?
Yeah,
I mean, this is shocking. So these are really not easy, complicated, but on the
very
other
complicated.
hand, my experience tells me, if you believe in yourself, if you believe your others, you can do that. Because as I said, Pakistan, we have been kidnapped. Even one time when
They
we
yeah.
went with our kids. We were in the north of Lahore, in a place I forget the name. There is a little bit hilly area. There was a park. We were, and our kids were riding horses, and we were chatting. A guy from outside comes, runs, maybe 100 miles an hour, and realizing that we are Indian or we are Hindu, says, "Uncle, we wish to be Hindu. Now we are not." But so he touches my hand or feet, I don't remember, and then runs back to where he goes. I ran again to find him again, but I could not. So you also have all these very positive kinds of things. Even,
Exactly. Yeah.
even like in Pakistan with Indian passport, you had to have every city you go, you
You have
have
to
to register,
register. Yeah.
and then before you leave, you have to re-register. The good side of it is that in Lahore when I went, the young man says, "Uncle, you do not come back. I'm writing here, arrival and departure, because I'm going to be flying, out, so they
Yeah.
know departure." And then even when I went to other places, even when I went to North, the capital, the lady who was somebody was in charge, and right before us there were few Africans and some white. They were sitting there, and then she told them, "No, no, no, I have to take care of my guests now." So I
Mhm.
had to go, and but she removed them, and
Yeah.
then again said, "You do not have to come again. I'm writing you arrival and departure both." So you see positivity, and you have
Right.
to use the
But
positivity.
unless we start talking, we won't, unless we start writing, talking, we won't know any of this. All your
Absolutely.
little stories. These are the, like, I always think of this when I was working with, abused women and etc. The quilt. It's like a big katha. Katha bole in Bengali, we call it katha.
Yeah.
Quilt, where you spin stories, you put them side by side, and you see the pain and the actual existential things that are coming out. But people are not even willing to talk. So that's the first step. They have to visit, they have to talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And as I mentioned, I'm very, very honored that in one village I went, actually, there a lady tells me, a very poor Hindu lady.
And this is Pakistan.
No, no, this time I'm
This
talking
Bangladesh.
about Bangladesh.
Okay.
There was a very poor Hindu lady staying in a home. I think that was could be our uncle's home. From they were driven out, but somehow she had bed was nothing but a torn sari
Mhm.
on the floor, and your head, to keep your head. There was a roll of you know the our wheat sticks. They make the hole, so that was the
Below.
so I was so happy, so proud, because she considered me as a part of the family. Please come and
Mhm.
stay here, you can stay here. So yeah, I mean, you have that. Actually, that village has now become a little bit lot better, and we just opened up a Kali Mandir of 1700s that was destroyed during 1950 pogrom. We rebuilt it, and people, when I went, people from America, Christians, a Christian minister sent me two to three times donation. Our Jewish friends
Wonderful.
send me donation. Even our Muslim friend, who is very poor, immediately heard gave me $20. And there were other Hindus, though I had to raise about 15,000. That's fine.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it can be
It
done.
can be done.
It
Yeah.
has
You
been
need
done.
the will. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you give up, the other party also already wins.
Right.
Like it's in a war. If you say I'm
Exactly.
not going to win, you'll never win.
Exactly. So that brings us to the conclusion. We learned so much, and this is ongoing. It's not just you came to one show and we learned a lot, but not everything. But thank you, Dr. Ghosh Dastidar, so much for being here. We hope to have you back, learn more from you, especially your visits and the changes you saw, and what message you have for us who are working in this field.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
And again, join us, our partition project and
Yes.
everything. Okay.
And yeah. Okay. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Namaskar to
Namaskar.
everyone.